and about the core concepts of Arya Dhamma. So last week we discussed about Anapanasati meditation and mainly the technical or the Rahulavada Sutra and the basic concepts which are associated with Anapanasati meditation. And today our goal is to understand the practical aspect of Anapanasati and how it is done in a day-to-day setting. So before starting that discussion, all the meritorious deeds you have gathered during this sansaric journey may agglomerate together, making the perfect environment for everyone to grasp the essence of Dhamma and to complete your understanding, and finally to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. With that blessing, accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And also, let us remind ourselves that during this sansaric journey, we might have done various kinds of unethical deeds towards various sentient beings. So we might have hurted and harmed during this sansaric journey, along this sansaric journey. So let us understand, or let us acknowledge our faults and acknowledge that these 10 unwholesome deeds, 10 immoral actions that we did towards these sentient beings were unethical and wrong, and let us acknowledge our faults and let us determine ourselves that we are not going to do those kinds of unethical deeds again, and with that determination in mind, and accept this with a sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu.
So today our discussion is mainly based on the practical aspect of Anapanasati. So during the last week, we discussed mainly about, we tried to elaborate on what Supreme Buddha preached to Rahula Thero in the Maharahulavada Sutra. And today we are going to put that into practice and try to understand how to practice Anapanasati and how to gain these results, so-called dhyana, which mainly we are focusing on Arya dhyana, which would help us to complete our wisdom, because samadhi, so in this case we are talking about samma samadhi, which is the last result of the eightfold pathway, and samma samadhi can be divided into 4 parts, and we would be discussing about this about the characteristics of these 4 parts or 4 dhyanas. First dhyana, second dhyana, third dhyana, and fourth dhyana are the 4 parts of samma samadhi. And this samma samadhi is what gives rise to samma jnana and samma vimukti. Samma jnana means the wisdom. Samma vimukti is the enlightenment. So those 2 are the end results, which would and the cause would be samma samadhi, and the effect would be samma jnana and samma vimukti. So to understand this, we have to first understand, like we discussed during a previous session, we have to understand Satta Bojjhanga. And we have discussed this before. So we know that Sati Sambojjhanga should be always there. And we have to have 3 at one time and 3 on the other. So first 3 would be Dhamma Vijaya Sambojjhanga, Virya Sambojjhanga, and Preeti Sambojjhanga. So when you complete this set, then you shift to the other 3. That is Passadi Sambojjhanga, Samadhi Sambojjhanga, and Upeksha Sambojjhanga. So we should try to apply Anapanasati into this template of Satta Bojjhanga and try to understand how we would practice this Anapanasati. So before starting that, we should have this basic knowledge about our body, how our body was made. Because there's a very important part that we need to understand when we are clearing our mind. So we know that we are trying to clear our mind from Raga, Dvesha, and Moha. But when we are doing it practically, our body is also made of Raga, Dvesha, and Moha. In Ayurveda system, we called it Vapitsem. Va is for phlegm, Pitta is for the heat, and Va means for air. So Vapitsem means for Raga, Dvesha, Moha. So imbalance in Vapitsem creates diseases in our body. So if somebody does not have any Raga, any Dvesha, or any Moha, that means Vitaragi, Vitadosi, and Vitamohi qualities would not create a mind or a body. And that's why we call it Nibbana, or someone who achieves this state where the person is devoid of Raga, Dvesha, and Moha. We call that person an Arihat, because that person has no Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Therefore, he does not create a body or a mind. So then we can understand, then if someone is having Raga, Dvesha, Moha, then it gives rise to the body and the mind. So since we have a body and a mind, this body and the mind is a result of Raga, Dvesha, and Moha. To be precise, because of Kama Raga, we were born in the human realm. Because that's why we have eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body. All the 5 senses. If we did not have Kama Raga, but if we had Rupa Raga, then we would not get these last 3 organs, last 3 senses. Touch, smell, and taste would not be perceived by that Brahma God. So you would become a Brahma God if you did not have Kama Raga, but you had Rupa Raga. You would have vision, you'd have hearing, and you would have thinking. That means you would have the mind. You'd have this figure or the body made of light, but that is not for touch. That is for visualization. So to see the individual, not to touch. You don't have any hardness there. So that's why you cannot eat, cannot smell. So having said that, we'll go to the basics of how this body was created. So for that, I would be sharing the screen and I would be drawing it. So sorry about that, I got disconnected. Mr. Dileep, can you make me host again? Because I have to share the screen. Okay,
Done, Thero.
okay, got it. So we have 4 bodies. So the 4th body is what we see. And 4th body also has 2 parts, fine body and coarse body. So we can say the solid body. The solid body is what we can see. So we know different things about our body based on medicine and Western science. So we know that our vision, according to technology and according to modern science, we know light rays are taken in by our eyes, and at the retina, it is converted to electrical signals, and via the optic nerve, it is taken to the occipital area of the brain, and it is processed, and through a complex interconnections through the when the current goes through the complex interconnections in the brain, we call them neurons, we get the sense of vision. So that's what they understand. So if the whole story of vision is like this, they only know about this much of understanding. They only have that much of understanding. So we would go all the way and try to understand all the 4 bodies. So if somebody know about any out of body experiences, if the body is essential for seeing, when somebody is having an out of body experience, or if you have read Tripitaka, Pali Canon, you know there have been monks who have these supernormal abilities where they can levitate, they can see things that cannot be seen from naked eye, which are far away, which are fine, that are away from our visible light range, and there had been monks who could hear things that are far away and which cannot be heard with our normal ears. So there had been instances like that, especially when it comes to a thing called manomaya irdi, when the person can get out of the body and roam around wherever he or she wants and take all the senses in. He can see, he can hear, can take all the information that is needed without using this physical body. So since these things are very rare, they are there still in this world. We might encounter people who has these abilities rarely, but since it is very rare when we compare to the norm, we think that our model is right, our model is correct. That's why there has been no challenges to this model we are learning right now. But we cannot explain these things if they are true with this model. And the model we are going to learn today, the type, the four bodies compiling together to create one human being, we would be able to explain all these things as well. But the thing is, you would not be able to connect the two, because in modern science, it sees the world through a different aspect, and Arya Dhamma, and especially the Eastern philosophies and Eastern technologies, sees the world through their sixth sense. So if you try to connect these two together, it wouldn't be an easy task. So we know that when the electrical signals are taken into the brain, it somehow gets into our mental side. That means it has to become Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijnana, that is Nama part. So the Rupa which is taken in, it can be Rupa Rupa, Saddha Rupa, Gandha Rupa, Rasa Rupa, Pottabha Rupa, or Mano Rupa. So if it is Mano Rupa, then it is purely from the mind, then it does not have a problem. But the five senses, since the five senses are in the external world, we have to take them in using this physical body, and we have learned things about this physical body, but we don't know any connection between the mental realm and the physical realm. And this is what we are going to learn. But you would not be able to attach this understanding about science and modern science to this model, because there's a big part here which is missing, which we don't know, and which would not be necessary for our understanding. What is our aim? What is our goal as an Arya? Our goal is to get rid of this suffering. And this part would not be needed in order to achieve that. If you think that this part is needed, then how does the suffering start to occur? So you think this is valuable, thus you get attached. Attachment is the reason for suffering, and you start to suffer, and you cannot stay suffering. So you have to somehow get rid of this suffering. So you have to work. So what do? You start researching, and you dedicate your life for this, and you try to find solutions. Even if you find the solution, you have not found the solution for your sansaric journey, but you have found a temporary solution for something you developed because of avidya. So you found a temporary solution, you died and you were born again, and you don't know anything what you discovered, and you have to do it again. So you are still in the endless cycle. So that's why we say this is not important. So what is important? What our focus should be, this elimination of suffering. So the first body, we have, when we die, let's say this is the last second as a human being, and we die at the end. Because of karmic energy, what happens? It creates a mind and a body. Mind and a body is created. So here is how that happens in a very fine level, in a very sophisticated level. So first body is called karmic body. So when this is what gives rise to our life, this is what creates life. Karmic body is the basic structure which is created initially. So it has, first it creates three important molecules. We can say molecules, we can say this is called dasaka kalapa. So dasaka kalapa, if you translate into English, it gives the meaning as compilations of 10. So 3 of them is initially created. We call it kaya dasaka, vastu dasaka, and bhava dasaka. So this kaya dasaka, vastu dasaka, bhava dasaka, so what are they? Chakku dasaka, sota dasaka, ghana dasaka, jivha dasaka. This is for a human. This is for a person or a god who is born in the okay. So back to our discussion. So we have now 7 dasaka or compilations of 10. Why these are called compilations of 10? So in Supreme Buddha is able to see the building block of physical matter. And this is not what we think. This is not the atom. We know the atom can be broken down further to electrons, protons, and neutrons, and again those also can be divided or broken down into smaller parts. But this is the smallest that it can get. This is called Suddhastaka. Suddhastaka means combination of, we can say combination of pure 8. What are the 8? Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi, Vanna, Gandha, Rasa, Oja. Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi are created because of avidya. Vanna, Gandha, Rasa, Oja are created because of tanha. So we know that these are actually non-physical. We know that these are some things that happen in a mind, avidya and tanha. So this is how we understand that mind is what gives rise to the physical matter and physical world. So avidya and tanha. Apo, we know what apo is. Apo is the energy or the ability to stick into other things, sticky nature. Tejo, energy, or we refer Tejo, and we always refer it with heat, fire, because it has a lot of energy. And energy is called Tejo. Vayo is the ability to fold. That means ability to expand and collapse, ability to bend. So this nature of, we can say, the flexible nature is what we call Vayo, and Patavi is the solid nature. So these are emanated because of avidya. Tanha is Varna. Varna is color, and Gandha is, we know, smell. Rasa means the taste. Everything has a taste, but it has to be dissolved in water or in a media that is that can be perceived, or that there should be a carrying agent. In most of the cases, that is water. Without a carrying agent, we would not be able to taste. So oja means the nutritious nature, similar kind of a thing. So these 8 things, when they compile together, that creates the combination of your 8. We call it Suddhastaka, and this cannot be broken down. If you take one of it out of the combination, then the Suddhastaka get destroyed. So this is the smallest that you can get. Even if you remove one object as one component of the 8, there's no Suddhastaka. So it's 1 or 0 kind of an instance. If only 8 presents at the same time, then they are Suddhastaka. Even if one of the components are not there, then no Suddhastaka. So this Suddhastaka, we know that when the Apo nature of this, so let's say this is a Suddhastaka, a combination of 8. So it has more Apo than the other things. More Apo than the Tejo, Vayo, Patavi, or Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi. When you refer to these 4, this has more Apo. So combination of these kind of Suddhastaka, we refer to them as water. If it has more Patavi nature in them, they have the other features as well, other 7 items as well. But if the Patavi nature is more, then we call them a rock or something solid. So likewise, this is how that works. So back to our topic. So how does this become 10? We are talking about Suddhastaka, combinations of 8. But we have to now discuss about 10. So 10, Suddhastaka, this 8, when it is rotating in an orbit and rotating around itself, it creates 2 more images. This is called Paribhramana Rupa and Parivartana Rupa. This creates 10, combination of 10. So when this 8 moves in a circle, it creates another image. Now this is a different image than this, because it rotates, or it revolves around an orbit, and it revolves around an axis. around its own axis, which creates another image. This is one image, this is another image. So these two, when added with 8, gives 10 images. So this is called dasaka. And we had 7 of them. Kaya, Bhava, Vastu, then there's Chakku, Sota, Ghana, and Jivha. So there are 7. This Kaya, this dasaka can identify solid nature. This dasaka can identify the thoughts. This dasaka can identify the light. This dasaka can identify the vibration. This dasaka can identify the smell and this taste. This is what we called in Patisampada, we discussed about bhava. So when this person takes one or a specific bhava, this dasaka changes accordingly. Mainly, there are 2 bhava, female and male. So it is not what you think as female and male. So it can be either bhava. So not that these are the only 2 bhava that they have. It can be raga bhava, desha bhava, moha bhava, whatever the bhava. This is what creates, according to my understanding, this is what creates energy which is deposited again, comes back and creates this bodies. First one, karma bhava. So this is bhava energy, and this can detect the external environment. This is what creates the energy. And when this has a, let's say, a idling speed, just like a machine, just like a engine which has an idling speed, when light rays can change its speed and nature of rotation, rotating around axis or rotating around an orbit, whichever it is, when it can change it when it can be changed with light, we call it chakku dasaka. When it can be changed with sota or vibration, we call it sota dasaka. When it can be changed with smell particles, we call it gana dasaka. When it can be changed with taste, we call it jivha dasaka. When it can be changed with solid nature, then we call it kaya dasaka. When it can be changed with thoughts, we call it vastu dasaka. So I think you understand how this basic structure of, this is the interface where mental realm and physical realm interacts. This is the phase. This is where they interact. This is how we are able to perceive. This is how the consciousness comes to life. So we can understand this is a process. Not anybody is doing it, not anybody is behind it, not someone is controlling it. It is how the energy flows. So this is the first body. If you have any questions at the end, can ask. I hope you have questions about this because this is a bit technical in the beginning because I have to go into a very important practical aspect be practicing when we are starting Anapanasati. So it comes to the second body. And this is called Kaya Dasaka. This is called a karmic body, first one. Then we have the mental body. So as soon as this Vastu Dasaka was created, it creates a mind. So when the thoughts are being received by this Vastu Dasaka, the mind is created here at that place, at that moment. So it creates a mental body. So this is a mental, whatever the mental body is created, it is a result of this Vastu Dasaka being active. So the mental body is created. So as soon as this mental body is created, you know, it cannot last, it decays and dies. Jara Marana. You know, decay, Jara Marana. So it is subjected to Jara Marana. So at the Jara Marana, these are broken down. So these are not physical. We are not still came to this hard physical components. These are very, very fine. There's a physicality because they are Suddha Astaka, but these are very fine physical components. And as soon as they decay at Jara Marana, again it gives the room for another mental body to be created. We know that this is how our world works. As soon as it ends up in Jara Marana, it leaves room for another mental body to be created. And this is how the chain of thoughts, chain of mental bodies are created. And this, whichever is created before, gets accumulated around this newly created mental body. So newly created mental body is accumulated by old ones, old destroyed or old copies of mental bodies which were created before. And it creates the third body. We call it this is called, first one is karmic body, then there's this mental body, and there's this, we call it a ituja body. So the English translation is a bit problematic. It comes something a seasonal body, but it's not seasonal. The meaning does not give any sense about what actually the body is about. It is in Pali, it is called Rituja body. So this is what Brahma gods have. So this is what Brahma gods have. But when it comes to deities or Kama Vachara gods in the Kama realm, who has 5 senses. So these gods have the 4th body as well, but the fine component of it. We also have that fine component. It is embedded in the physical body which we have right now. If we develop these super psychic powers, and if we are able to separate the two, then we would be able to experience the nature or the type of the body gods are having. So this fine body is because of, now you know that now this is a combination of three bodies, first one, second one, and third one. So what happens? This shape of the mental body is coated by Apo, Tejo, Vayo, and Patavi. But very, very small, very, very fine, in very, very fine levels, not in solid levels. So that's why we cannot see them, we cannot feel them. They are they are in a different dimension which we cannot see through our naked eye. So this is the fine aspect of the fourth body. So when it is solidified, so for example, what happens in the mother's womb is this fourth, this body as a gandhabba, we get attached to the mother's womb as a, you know, the zygote is here. Zygote is due to a sperm, and a ovum is when it is fertilized, you get a zygote. And your mental body was like this in the fourth and final stage, fourth fine stage, and this starts to shrink and shrinks and shrinks. You forget about at this instance where the body get connected with the zygote, you forget about your mental self, mental picture, and you start shrinking and shrinking, and you start, and you get exactly the same copy, or you become similar by shrinking. And you, when these two start to very similar and very good for fitting into each other, what happens? These two fits. Now the zygote and this third body, fourth body gets fixed. And but this has all the ingredients or all the shape that you need. So it is like something like this. So you have a piece of paper, and behind that piece of paper you keep a magnetic person. So this is magnet, and you put iron powder on top of the paper. What happens? Iron powder would get into the shape of the person. So you can see a person on the other side of the paper, but there's nothing on this side. But on the other side, or behind we have a magnetic person, or person made of a magnet is behind. So that power, magnetic power, creates this iron powder, or aligns this iron powder in the shape of a person in front of the paper. So that is exactly what happens in mother's womb. So we have this magnetic copy, and we call this this is the magnetic copy, and this is the iron powder, the things that are eaten by our mother, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, and Patavi, which are taken in by the mouth, and which is transferred to the placenta by the bloodstream, blood circulatory system, and the nutrients are absorbed, and this blueprint, or the magnetic body, or this fourth fine body, is being recreated, or we can say condensified. You apply more Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi, which are dense and which are coarse. This is applied to this fine body, and you create a physical solidified human body, which is what we can see at birth. So this is the fourth solid body, but we have that copy inside us. The thing is, we cannot get it out with our normal abilities. We should have extraordinary abilities in order to get it out, like special psychic powers and everything. So this is what I wanted to tell you before we go into the Anapanasati meditation. So what we need to understand is here this second body and third body. We know we don't what is important is these two. So you know that this is mental body, right? So what happens when you develop raga, dvesha, and moha? Your mental body becomes or correspond the mental body which is created is corresponding with what you think, raga, dvesha, moha. So when you create ideas of raga, ideas of dvesha, and ideas of moha, the mental body which is created at that moment is of, let's say raga is red, and then dvesha is, raga is yellow, right? So raga is yellow, dvesha is red, and moha is blue. So if this is the case, when you create ideas of raga, the body which gets created is red, and when it is dvesha, the body which is created is red, and when it is moha, the body which is created at that point is blue. But you don't always think about raga ideas. So as soon as this was created, and when the thought process changes, this becomes goes into the third body, and these bodies or the parts of these bodies, and we can say dark rays. These are rays. Dark rays get accumulated in your body because you are a compilation of all four bodies. So dark rays gets accumulates in your body. Now think about what you have thought, what you have done during this, let's say 30 to 40, maybe 20 to 30 years you have lived. So you have created a lot of raga thoughts, lot of dvesha thoughts, and a lot of moha thoughts. And all the dark rays which are being created are around your body and inside your body. And it is there, still there. And since a normal person, when it comes to a normal person who does not have any understanding about Arya Dhamma, he would continue to have raga, dvesha, and moha thoughts. And he would not have any capability of creating the opposite of these three, which is vitaragi, vitadosi, and vitamohi qualities. It does not have any capability to do that. But what we are doing during meditation, during Anapanasati meditation, is we are actually creating the opposite rays, which is actually white. So we created raga, and we symbolize raga as yellow, dvesha as red, moha as blue, and we have to symbolize this vitaragi, vitadosi, vitamohi qualities as white. So since the paper is white, let's say this is white. So white is opposite, because vitaragi, vitadosi, and vitamohi qualities are opposing raga, dvesha, and moha. So what happens is, when you start meditating, all the dark rays which are around and inside you starts burning. And this burned raga, dvesha and moha starts creating aches and pains in your body. When you start meditating, your body would start to ache, your headache, you start getting headaches. Sometimes you would just start getting stomach aches, and you would be having diarrhea, because these dark and we can say poisonous stuff should be expelled from your body. You would start sweating a lot. Some people would start sweating. Some people would start developing diarrhea. Some people would start getting phlegm in their throats, developing phlegm. And some people would start getting a lot of thirsty, and they would need a lot of water when they are meditating. These are in the beginning. These are in the first stages of the meditation. But when the time goes, since you are developing more and more vitaragi, vitadosi, vitamohi qualities, these dark rays which are around and inside your body would get washed away and would get eliminated from your body, and your body would start becoming, it would become white. And you can see when it comes to the fourth body, fourth dhyana, it is something like this, a white column, because all the dark things which are around and inside you have been washed away, which have been removed. Now your body has become a bright white light, a white column, just like a tube light in the size of you, 6 feet long, maybe 1 feet in diameter. One big column of light is perceived as you when it comes to the fourth dhyana, pure fourth dhyana. So why in the beginning it was something full of dark rays, and since you are doing the act of removing all the dark rays and replacing it with white rays, in the end you get this at the fourth dhyana. So in Dhamma, there are a few analogies Supreme Buddha has given to explain this. So if you have a cloth and that is full of dirt, this is a white cloth, by the way. So what you do is, you would first put the chemical or the detergent. So you put the detergent and you would start rubbing. When you start rubbing, after you putting the detergent, the dirt would start to come off from the cloth. So after some time, after you rub the cloth, what you do is you would wash it. Now you would put water and you would wash the cloth. And when you wash it, or when you rinse the cloth, what happens? A lot of dirt would go out, and you would be able to see the cloth clearly, and you can see where the dirt are still there, or the places where the dirt are still present. So what you would do is you would again start back this process again, and you would put again detergent. You would put the detergent and you would rub it, and then after rubbing a lot of dirt, you would see that a lot of dirt are getting dislodged from the white cloth, and then you would wash it, you would rinse it. When you rinse it, again you would see where the problem is, where the dirt is. And if you continue this process, at the end you would be able to get a nice white piece of cloth. So this is, now we are going to apply the 7 Satta Bojjhanga here. So you have to have the Sati Sambojjhanga at all times. So that is 1. So this has to be there all the time. That is how you are you are in very mindful nature, that you are putting the detergent and you are focusing on the places where the dirt are, and that for that you have to be mindful. And when you are washing, you have to be mindful. When you are seeing where the dirt are or the remaining dirt is, you have to be mindful. And so the mindfulness should be always there. And you have to have the first 3 Bojjhangas when you are putting the detergent. What is the detergent? This is the detergent powder, and this is Dhamma Vijaya. Dhamma Vijaya Sambojjhanga is the detergent powder. And what is Virya? Virya Sambojjhanga is the act of rubbing. So act of rubbing is the Dhamma Vijaya Sambojjhanga. And what happens? The cloth would start getting clean, and that is Priti Sambojjhanga. You would feel happy that the dirt is coming off. Apply this to a real time cleaning cloth. Apply this analogy and try to think through the analogy. You become happy. Why? Because all the dirt is coming off. But there's an important lesson here. When this dirt is reduced, then you have to stop doing this, because you have to go through the process. You have to now rinse it and get the released or dislodged dirt out of the picture. So for that, so this is where you would develop headaches, you would develop aches and pains in your limbs and everywhere, because when these things are dislodged from your system, some of them get dislodged into the bloodstream, into your body, and these should be removed from the body, because these are what you are creating as the detergent or Dhamma Vijaya or the white rays are actually, they burn these dark rays. So the burnt dark rays which are in the body should be removed in order to get the physical comfort. Otherwise, there's no physical comfort. You are having aches and pains and problems. So you cannot focus on this task of cleaning the cloth, or in other words, you cannot focus on Dhamma Vijaya, because you are having a lot of aches and pains. So what you would do, you would stop this and you would go for washing. And what is the rinsing? What is the part where rinsing happens? You would start focusing on the you'd stop the Dhamma Vijaya, you'd stop the Virya, or you'd stop the rubbing, and you'd start cleansing your body. And for that, yes, there's this is where the breathing comes. This is where the breathing occurs. When you have developed this part where the body is full of toxins, you start getting a deep breath in and sighing it out. Sigh the inhale, exhale it through sighing, like this. You're forcefully expiring the air, and through this air, these particles or dark rays are being expelled. Because it is there's an important part you have to understand these four bodies work in synchronization. That's why we can, even though we use our eyes, which is in the fourth body, we can see through the Chakku Dasaka. So all the four bodies work in synchronization. So inhalation and exhalation also work in synchronization. What we get is clean and pure air inside, which is, we call that oxygen. We take in oxygen and we expire carbon dioxide, which is harmful and which is toxic to our body, and we expire it, we exhale that part. So since our other two bodies are also, other three bodies are also working synchronization, when we inhale, when we are having good thoughts, when we are having vitaragi, vitadosi, vitamohi thought, we inhale. We don't have to keep track, or we don't have to keep our, we don't have to be mindful about our breathing. But when we inhale, we have to be mindful about what we are thinking, what what Dhamma thoughts we are thinking. We have to focus on that part. But when we are inhaling all the good and Buddha energy, Dhamma energy, Sangha energy, all the pure energies which are there are also taken into our body. And when we are exhaling, all the dark rays that are being deposited, that are being washed out, that are being dislodged from this third, and especially the third body, are being exhaled with expired air along with carbon dioxide. So that's what we are focusing on in the last three bojjhangas. What is that? Passati bojjhanga, Samadhi bojjhanga, and Upeksha bojjhanga. So what is Passati bojjhanga? So when your body is getting cleaned, you would feel very light, and that is called Passati. And you can focus on that lightness in your body, and that would create a samadhi. Oh, it would, the mind would start to stay. You don't have to force it. It is not something you can force, because nothing is according to your expectation. You cannot control your body according to your expectation or your mind. So whichever you try, or when you try that kind of a thing, that would not be our pathway. So this is very fine. The process of thinking should be very smooth, and you should not create something that where the attachment occurs, where the avidya occurs. You have to think in a very fine line in between. So if you go beyond that, you would get attached. If you and that would knock you out from the Arya pathway. So you can focus on Pasadi. Pasadi is the lightness in your mind as well as in your body, both. So when you have focused on Pasadi, the Samadhi would start to develop. So this is a practical experience. That's why it is very hard to explain this with words. What I can do is I can outline what you need to understand and where the path is. But until you have followed the path and until you have seen it for yourself, you would not be able to understand what really Patsadi is, what really Samadhi is, what really Upeksha is. So when you develop Samadhi, you should not get attached to that Samadhi as well, because Samadhi state is very good. That means it is very blissful. It has a blissful sensation. It has a very calming and very pleasurable sensation. Not in the sense like, not like in calm, the sensual pleasures. Not a feeling that you feel when you are associating with images, sounds, smells, taste, touches, but it is a different kind of a very positive feeling, not a negative one. So since it is a positive feeling, you tend to get attached to it. But since it is a part of the world, since if you attach to a part of the world, it is the reason for suffering, which is explained in the Four Noble Truths. When you have attachment towards something, even if it's a dhyana, then what happens? Then it becomes a non-arya dhyana, normal dhyana, laukika dhyana. So you have to have this upeksha as well at that point. So these three is practiced. So when these three are practiced, what happens? Then you are cleaning the cloth. When you clean the cloth, it comes to a point where the cleaning has finished. There's no more going up, or the pasadi would not be increasing. Or the easiest way to understand this is all the aches and pains and problems and everything has gone away, and now you are full of samadhi, full of very comforting kind of a mindset. Now again you can start thinking about dhamma, thinking about or start dhamma vijaya. And when you start dhamma vijaya and start thinking about these things, again these dark rays would start to get burnt, and it would fill your body with toxins and everything. And what happens then? Again it is time to go back to the other three bojjhangas, and you have to practice this in this way. And this is how the Anapanasati meditation is done. So there's a part where you breathe, and this is what got mixed up with everything, and everybody thought it is all about breathing. It is not about breathing. Breathing is actually a what we can say, it is a byproduct of what we do. So when we start doing this, actually most of the time we just don't have to focus on breathing. It just happens. You know, when something, when you have a serious problem, this happens automatically. When you have a serious problem and you have think about it for a long time, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, you have thought about what the decision should be, and at the end when you have decided that this is my final decision, what happens? Automatically you take in a deep breath in, and you forcefully exhale it like this, and then you go and tell your decision. That's what happens. That is normal thing that happens to everyone. You think about it, you get into the decision, and you sigh it out. Sigh all the air in your system is forcefully expired, and you think now it's time to go and tell my decision. So kind of a this scenario happens to all of us. So the same thing happens when when we are thinking about dhamma, when all the things, or the aches and pains come, all the discomfort starts to set in. What happens? Our body automatically takes in a deep breath and automatically expire it forcefully like this, and you feel very relieved. And this is a very good way of relaxing your body, and that would help. And this is just a guideline. You would have to get the rhythm of it, because for some people you can walk with long strides, as well as you can walk with short strides. If you keep short strides, you can move faster by increasing the frequency. If you keep long strides, you can move slowly, but your speed is more because you are keeping long strides. For example, if I draw it out, it's like this. So when you are walking, if you are keeping short strides, if you increase the since your speed is high, frequencies of keeping or changing your foot is high, you can move faster, but some might keep long strides. Even the frequency is less, since the stride length is high, the forces or the movement would be higher. So this is Saptabhojanga, 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, here, 3 here, 3 here. So what you need to understand here is you have to get into the water and start swimming and experiment and try to understand what suits for you. It cannot be explained on an individual basis. What we can explain is the theory behind it. So now what you are going to do when you are focusing there. So when you are focusing on Dhamma Vijaya, what you are focusing on, you can go for Karmasthana. If you, I think all of you have joined our meditation sessions. We conduct once a month on Sunday evenings. So if you have joined that, and if you have done especially the metta meditation, where we are focusing on all the 10 directions and we are focusing on metta. So if you start focusing, if you do this metta meditation, let's say you are you focus on metta for with the correct understanding, of course, of the when you have the correct understanding of Dhamma, only we can do Anapanasati. Otherwise you would be focusing on something else. So if you have the correct understanding of Dhamma, and if you are focusing on Anapanasati, and if you are focusing on metta meditation, or you get the, you have to have something for meditation. So metta is a good base for meditation. Or you can get asubha meditation, and that you can apply to Anapanasati, and you can do the Anapanasati. If you can remember in the Rahulavad Sutta, the Supreme Buddha says, for raga you have to take asubha meditation. For dvesha you have to take metta meditation. For there are several things like that which was explained in the latter part of the sutra. So whichever the main base you take, let's say for example we take the metta meditation, the base as the metta meditation, and we are now practicing metta meditation as anapana in the anapanasati style. So what you do is you focus on, let's say the best way is you have to have the prerequisites. You know what the prerequisites are, we discussed. So you have to have the sunyagara, the aranya and rukkamula, and again you have to go to the lowest level, nisidati pallanka abhujitva pani. Then you have to focus on nibbana. That's why we take Arya Anapanasati and not the local Anapanasati or Laukika Anapanasati. In Arya Anapanasati, we are focusing on Nibbana. May all the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. So we are focusing on Nibbana, and so our focus is towards Nibbana, that is Panidaya Parimukang, Sating Upattapetva, so Sato Asasati, Sato Passasati. So what we are going to inhale? We are going to inhale, or we are going to take in all the metta qualities, metta thoughts, metta actions, metta words. And what we are going to expire? Our words of hatred, thoughts of hatred, and our the actions of hatred. Everything would be expired. And when we are focusing on this metta, all the dark rays which are being accumulated around and inside our bodies due to this this dvesha thoughts would start to burn because of the opposite rays, opposite powerful white rays that are being generated, that are being inhaled. So this would destroy all the dark rays of hatred, and it would start getting accumulated in our body, causing aches and pains. And then again, we are focusing on the last three bojjhangas. Now, our body would automatically start to respond with forceful expirations, and we would focus on the lightness of our body as well as our mind, and you would find that very soothing, very blissful. And we know that we should not attach to that as well, because that is also not nibbana. And what we are focusing on is our that's why we called panidaya parimukang sating upattapetva. So the focus to nibbana should not never change. You should not change your focus from nibbana to this the soothing and peaceful and blissful the nature of dhyana. So you should not change it. You should always focus on that dhyana, the level of or the idea of nibbana. So that is how you would practice anapanasati. So you can take other karmasthana. There's not on the metta meditation is not the only meditation that you have in your that you can practice using anapanasati. If you are a person who has a lot of raga thoughts, or we divide the people into 7 different parts. I jot it down very quickly. We have raga people, dvesha people, moha people. Then we have raga dvesha people. There's raga also, and there's a lot of dvesha as well. Raga moha people. Then there's dvesha moha people, dvesha and moha. The predominant things are dvesha and moha. So for some people, the predominant thing is raga. For some people, they are full of dvesha, gets angry all the time, gets angry very easily, and cannot be controlled when they get angry. For some people, it is raga. They do not get angry very easily, but they become very obsessed with things. They are going after the 5 sensual pleasures, especially the food, smells, and the bodily pleasures. So when it comes to moha, the person is the level of understanding is less. So when the person is having both of these, we call it raga dvesha person, raga moha, dvesha moha. And if the person is having all 3, raga, dvesha, moha, in very high levels, we call it raga dvesha moha person. So we have 7 types of people here. So if you are a raga person, then you have to take this, what you call asubha meditation. We practiced asubha in the last session, where we focused on this what do you call this kesalo manaka danta tacho. So we divided our body, and we saw that this is a combination of things and the illusion or the delusional idea, where we think that this is very valuable and very very important, comes because of this illusion that it creates because of things getting accumulated in different ways, which gives a very attractive picture. But when you divide it and see where the attractive picture goes, you can very well understand that it is a it is a something like a mirage. It is not actually there, but it gets created in the process of accumulation of things. So you can use asubha and you can focus on asubha. You can think and you can practice it for few minutes initially, and you can increase the period of time gradually to a level maybe 1 to 1.5 hours. When that level is achieved, you would be able to feel this the results of this meditation, Anapanasati. When it is desha, when you have a lot of dvesha, you have to take metta. So these are the two most important two that you are going to focus. And there's Buddhanusati, and we would be discussing what Buddhanusati is in the meditation sessions. And then there's then there's Marananusati. So the Marananusati is not very practiced very much in a Anapanasati setting, but this Buddhanusati also can be practiced because it is very helpful, because the Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vijjacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisadhamma Sarati Sattha Manusanam Buddho and Bhagava are the 9 qualities of Supreme Buddha. So we know that what actually what Supreme Buddha is actually a combination of 9 qualities. We are not going to call this the body of Supreme Buddha, because the body was there at his birth as well. So the body did not change. Of course, there were small changes, but it is not the body that we are going to focus here. So what we can see from our eyes, the image is not what we are going to call as the enlightened Supreme Buddha. It is 9 qualities. Of course, the image helps us to go there, because we are visual human beings. If we can see the image of Supreme Buddha, since it is a portrait or a combination or portrait of these 9 qualities, it would have that effect in him, or the external image. But in reality, if the Arahang Samma Sambuddho and all the 9 qualities were not there, we would not see that pleasant, calming, soothing image of Supreme Buddha. It is these 9 qualities that gives rise to the physical attributes as well. So what we are focusing here when we are going for Arihang Samma Sambuddho is, when we are reciting, that is with a little bit of understanding. We cannot have the 100% understanding, and we will discuss this in a different session, because this is a very broad topic if we are going to discuss about Buddhanusati. So if we focus on these qualities, then we would start to develop these qualities in ourselves, and we would start to see these qualities, and we would try to develop these qualities in ourselves, and that would develop, or that would again create this white rays would be accumulating in our body. Again, we can use this as a meditation base for meditation when we are doing Anapanasati, or the dark rays of. So these are actually vitaragi, vitadosi, vitamohi qualities, these 9 qualities of Supreme Buddha. So when you practice it, all the raga, dvesha, moha qualities would be destroyed or eliminated from your system, again forcing you to have those kinds of things. So this is actually now the most important part here. So there are 2 types of people. Prajna Vimukta and Ubato Vimukta. So Ubato Vimukta is actually Prajna Vimukta and Cheto Vimukta. So Ubato means two. So this is one, this is first one, and this is the second one. Cheto Vimukta and Prajna Vimukta. What is Prajna Vimukta? The word Vimukta means, we can simply say enlightenment. So if you are enlightened with wisdom, that is Prajna Vimukta, and there are 4 results you can achieve through Prajna Vimukta. What is that? Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arihat. And this is an Arihat individual, a noble Arihat, the result of Prajna Vimukta. What is Ubato Vimukta? So you know what Prajna Vimukta is. We discuss right now. So these are the 4 results of Prajna Vimukta. Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arihat. What is Cheto Vimukta? Cheto means mind. So this is enlightenment. So what is the difference here? So here the Cheto, what is the problem? Raga. There are 3 types of raga: Kama raga, Rupa raga, Arupa raga. So what is raga? Raga is wandering of our mind here and there. Whatever the mind latches onto, whatever the mind gets, it latches onto and it starts thinking in that direction. So you go to the, you are walking by the side of the road and you see a shop and you see different things. What does your mind do? What does your mind do? You attach into something and you start wandering here and there. And again, when you are passing that stall, you have another stall where other kinds of things are there. So when you see that, you just shift from this train of thoughts to another train of thoughts and you just start wandering. So this is what we call raga. Because of this, you shift from one to another, to again to the back and forth. You go here and there. Your mind starts wandering in that direction, and you forget all the important things, which is anicca, dukkha, anatta. Important things are forgotten because of this nature of the mind. So when you are going for cheto vimukti, Cheto Vimukta nature, what you do is, you are just like in Anapanasati, you start to see the faults and you start to develop the 4 dhyana. So the results of Cheto Vimukta is first dhyana, second dhyana, third dhyana, and 4th dhyana. So these are the results of Cheto Vimukta. So when you attain this final result, still you have not reached Prajna Vimukta. Prajna Vimukta is a different side. Because if you do not reach Prajna Vimukta, then there's no point. Because when it comes to Arya Cheto Vimukta, it always comes with Prajna Vimukta. Because you have already understood the reality of the world. So this 4th, 2nd, 3rd, and 1st dhyana are very good environment. So when we are going for a meditation, when we are going for practice, when we go for practicing Arya Dhamma, we would find a good environment. Environment is very needed. Now we are talking about physical environment, but you would understand the importance of the environment that you would get in your mind using this example of the physical environment. So you are looking for a place which is calm. You are looking for a place where there's no hectic things going on. Very calm and quiet. There are no things that would develop your raga thoughts of raga, thoughts of dvesha, and thoughts of moha. So you would find a place, some place like that. So that environment helps you to focus on the core concepts of Dhamma and to develop your prajna, so that you can attain Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arya. So to attain the prajna, to attain the enlightenment or to develop prajna, you know that you are looking for a suitable environment. Just like that, this is the environment, the mental environment, that is very essential, or very, we can say not essential, but very good. This is the environment, mental environment, that is very nice to have, so that it is easier for you to focus on, again, wisdom, to developing wisdom, in developing wisdom. So that is the thing. So there can be people who are prajna vimukta, who does not need dhyana, and who does not have the ability to develop dhyana. Still they can become arihat. So anapanasati is not for everyone. Some people do not need anapanasati. Some people do not have the ability to develop anapanasati. Still they can become enlightened by developing their wisdom, thinking in the same way we have thought during these past sessions, thinking what is anicca, dukkha, and anatta, applying that to your day-to-day life, thinking when you get attached, when the suffering occurs, you are using dhamma to get rid of that suffering, to get rid of those kinds of sufferings once and for all in your sansaric journey. And when desha occurs, you are thinking in the Arya way to get rid of dvesha, and you are practicing satara satipatthana, chattaro satipatthano. You are practicing it. You are in your correct pathway, but you are not focusing on this cheto vimukta pathway, because it is a different pathway. If you develop it, yes, you would develop extra human or superhuman abilities, or super psychic powers and everything as well. Maybe you would develop, because this is the pathway. Cheto vimukta is the pathway for that. And of course, it is not the only thing that would help. There would be a lot of help for the prajna vimukta pathway as well, because just like we said, a good person, a person with lot of wisdom would not need a place, would not care about the place, even if it's a very hectic environment, even if the person is with having a very busy life and everything. He would know the problem. He would apply the thoughts of wisdom then and there and try to get rid of all the problems and be okay, or be his mind would be like a temple, even though the outside is like a train station. So that's the example I can give. Mind would be like a temple. Mind would be very calm and quiet, but the outside is very hectic and very problematic. But in inside, he is very calm and quiet. So that is the prajna vimukta person. But for when you have achieved cheto vimukta, that means if you have developed the first dhyana, or the second, third, and fourth, the level, or the level of peacefulness, level of ability to control, or control in the sense you are able to focus on anicca dukkha anatta more without your mind going here and there, because the ragic nature or the wandering nature of your mind would start to reduce when you reach these states of dhyana. So when these dhyanas are achieved, what happens? You would focus more, and it is like when the light is like this. So you have a torch here. So you have a torch, and when the light is like this, you get a very big circle of light, or very big circle of light, which is dispersed. But if you have a laser pointer, this same light beams are pointed in a very thin beam, and this beam is very bright and it can even cut through the solid surface, but this cannot cut through this block because it is just a ordinary torch. But when it comes to a laser pointer, the thing changes. Just like that, when you have these levels of dhyana, it is like having a laser pointer. So your ability to focus, ability to think about anicca dukkha anatta is enhanced in a way that you are able to see through the the problems of the world, or the avidya. You can very well understand why the problem, what is the problem, because the raga mind is not there. You can think very fine details here in these stages. So that is what the importance of Cheto Vimukta. But it is not essential. That is what I wanted to tell you. The Cheto Vimukta pathway is for some people. If you are a person who is meant to be a Prajna Vimukta, then you would be a Prajna Vimukta. Even though you wanted to be a Cheto Vimukta, the world is anicca. What you seek would not happen. So what you should do is you should identify which kind of a person you are. Whether you develop meditation, whether you are the person who have these kinds of a mentality, who is very fond of meditation, who likes meditating, would like this Cheto Vimukta pathway, and who might have the ability to develop the Cheto Vimukta pathway. And don't attach to these dhyanas. They are just crown jewels for a king. So you focus on the kingship. You focus on the role of the king, not on the crown, not on the gold that is worn by you. Because if you focus on that, you become a thief, not a king. King does not care whether he has the crown or not, because he's the king. King would be the king even if he has the crown or he does not have the crown. So just like that, don't focus on the crown, just focus on the reality, the anicca dukkha anatta. Because if you focus on the crown, if you think about what the pleasure or the positive feelings of first, second, third, and fourth dhyanas, then you'd get attached to it, and that would not end well, because you get stuck in that dhyana and you would not be able to go further. And again, you would not be able to develop the prajna or the wisdom. So this is a very important message I wanted to give you. So since I wanted to explain you both these pathways. We have talked about Prajna Vimukta pathway a lot. Since there can be people who are very good, or who are meant to go in that Cheto Vimukta pathway as well. That's why I am explaining this. So it is not for everyone. And the most important part is seeing the reality, seeing the anicca dukkha anatta nature in the world, and try to understand this attachment is the problem, the avidya is the problem, and trying to eliminate this avidya and attachment, so that you would see the blissfulness when the attachment is gone. So that is the main aim of this discussion. And the most the other important part is, so we'll go through the qualities of first, second, third, and fourth dhyana, as a and then we can go for questions if you have any. So these have 5 characteristics. First dhyana, that is savitakka, savichara, priti, sukha, ekagrata. This is, I think we have discussed savitakka and savichara. Savitakka means This is about Dhamma Vicaya. When you focus on thoughts of Dhamma, Nekkhamma thoughts, Avyapada thoughts, Avihimsa thoughts, you are developing Savitakka and Savichara. Savitakka is like, it is like this. There's this bell here. If you hit this bell with a stone, you get ting sound. So at the point where this hits, it's Savitakka, and the sound that drags along, like ting, the sound that follows is Savichar. So it is the main thought and the train of thoughts it creates. So the main thoughts is Savitakka, and the discussion that comes after that, or the thought process, or the chain of thoughts that follows, is called Savichara. And this is not just Vitakka Vichara. These are just nonsense we always think about, Vitakka Vichara. But these are Savitakka Savichara. That means there's a not Raga, not Dvesha, not Moha. So these are Nekkhamma, Avyapada, and Avihimsa thoughts. So you know what Savitakka Savichara is. It creates the Priti. Priti is felt mainly in the face. Just like you can feel it when if you have closed eyes, you would feel it like a moon, the moonlight falling onto your face. You would feel that. And you would feel that when the moonlight is fallen onto your face in a dark environment in the outside with your closed eyes, you would feel very, very, very happy kind of a feeling, and you would feel that light through your closed eyes as well, and that is preeti, and your face you'd be able to feel the preeti, or you would start you're smiling, and some people would develop that smile into a laugh as well. Some people would develop a very light smiling posture in your face. Some people would not develop that much, because these are, in some people these are very exaggerated, and in some people these are very, very mild, even very hard to find, understand that you are having that. That there's a wide range of these qualities one would in an individual basis. So preeti and sukha would be something like when you are in a air conditioned room, what you feel in your body, kind of a feeling. So you would feel very very, very comfortable in your body, from your toes to your to the top of the head. You would feel it everywhere in your body, that your body is very you can feel it, the blissful sensation in your body. It is just like what do you call waves coming and going in the ocean. It would increase and decrease, and you can feel the sukha. And still again, this is also very changes from person to person. Some would have very exaggerated sukha, and some would have very, very mild sukha. Even one would not be able to notice very very well, and this would start developing when you practice it more and more, and it would take time. So ekagrata is actually about the unified nature of the mind. So you would have these four for qualities for a certain period of time without breaking, and that is called ekagrata. Savitakka Savichara would not break, and you would not start thinking about what was prepared for lunch and dinner and everything. That the usual things that comes to your mind, the raga things, dvesha things that usually comes to your mind, would not occur, would not happen for a certain period of time, and that period that quality is called ekagrata. So that is the period where you were in the dhyana. So when you get out of the dhyana, again all the things that were there before, that things, the garbage, everything that was in your mind would start flowing back to your mind, and you would start thinking about those things, and raga level of raga would start to come back. So that's the difference between Cheto Vimukta and Prajna Vimukta. Cheto Vimukta is for a different or for a specific period of time where you are in the dhyana. But Prajna Vimukta, when you achieve it, it is for eternity. You would not break that. Even if you are in the dhyana, if you're in the park or the pool or wherever you are, that level of defilements would never occur again. That's the difference between Cheto Vimukta and Prajna Vimukta. So this is first dhyana. So when you go to the second dhyana, what happens? This savitakka savichara become avitakka vichara. So we call it, the first one, savitakkan savicharang vivekajam priti sukhang patamajjanang. Then vitakka vichara rupasama avitakkang avicharang samadhitang priti sukhang dutiyajjanang. So avitakkang avicharang samadhitang priti sukhang. Then the ekagrata is also there. Ekagrata is there in all the four dhyanas, because it is for a certain period of time, and you are able to experience that for that period of time without breaking these qualities. So avitakka vichara means, so you don't have to think about this dhamma again now. So just like when you have reached the second set of Satta Bojjhanga. So when you have reached the second set of Satta Bojjhanga, it is like this. When you have a plane here, so if you have this plane track, so when the plane is high up, so the initial part is like the first dhyana. So when the second dhyana is achieved, you are in the air. Now you can glide. You can turn off the engines, and you can just, you cannot get it up, but you can maintain your altitude. And that's why it is called samadhidam priti sukham. The samadhi creates the priti and sukha. This is called savitakkan savicharang vivekajam priti sukham. So what creates the viveka? Viveka means the peace. So when you think about Dhamma, you feel very peaceful. You feel that this world is full of busy things, full of world, full of worldly things, which creates raga, dvesha, and moha. So when this Dhamma Vijaya, when you practice Dhamma Vijaya, it creates peace, and that is what creates Preeti and Sukha. But when you get this plane high up, it creates Samadhi, and you don't need Savitakka Savichara anymore, but the Samadhi itself creates the Sukha and Preeti, and you have the Ekagrata as well. Now this is called second dhyana. So after some time, you would see that this Preeti as very rough. You would be able to, when you develop the second dhyana for some time, you would be able to feel that Preeti as very rough. You'd not like to have that quality. You would like that to go away. So you would not focus on Preeti, but you would start to focus on Sukha. And Sukha would start developing, and the Preeti would just fade away. Then you would develop Sukha Ekagrata, and that is called third dhyana. And after third dhyana, you would see this Sukha in Upeksha, because that is what we said. You are not getting attached to the Sukha. Sukha means the blissful feeling. So you are not getting attached to the sukha. You are seeing it as upeksha. So when you see it as upeksha, it would turn to upeksha, and upeksha ekagrata would be the last. Ekagrata would be the last qualities. These are the two qualities of fourth dhyana. So when it is explained in the Tripitaka, it is explained like this: when you achieve the first dhyana, if you get a ball of mud like this, so ball of clay, so you have to get this the relevant soil which to create clay, and you have to add water, and you have to create a ball of clay. And if you keep the ball of clay on a surface, you can see it is fully wet inside and everywhere. Inside the clay ball there's water particles, and you cannot find a place there where there's no water particles, because it's a ball of clay. Just like that, sukha and preeti is there from the top of the head to the tip of the toe. So you are filled with preeti and sukha in the first dhyana. So in the second dhyana, it is the analogy is well. So when there's rain, so when there's rain, water falls onto the ground, and there are springs in the well where the water comes into the well and it fills the well with water. So when the rain stops, all these springs, when the rain goes on, all the springs get activated, and all the water comes into the well, and it fills up to the mouth of the well. Now the rain has ended. Now no water is coming from the rain or from the springs. Now everything has stopped, but the water level is filled up to the mouth of the well. So that is the example given by Supreme Buddha for the second dhyana. So you're not doing anything. No rain, no springs, nothing. No water is coming from outside, but you are filled with water. You are filled with sukha and preeti. So you are not doing anything to maintain that. It is just like a gliding airplane in the atmosphere, not doing anything, but you are just maintaining your altitude, kind of a example. So this is the example which was given by Supreme Buddha. So the third one is a lotus flower in the middle of the water. So you are surrounded by water, just like you are surrounded by sukha. So you can feel the sukha all around you as well, not just in your body, but you feel like you are inside a pool of sukha, just like a lotus flower in the middle of water, which is not come to the surface of water, which is not blossomed to a beautiful lotus flower, but a lotus uh, 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 flower which is not bloomed, which is inside water, which is halfway in the water. This is the feeling would get. So in the last one, you would feel yourself like the example which was given is when a person is covered fully from the head to toe with a white dress without any arms, limbs, and nothing can be seen from outside. It is just like a ghost which was covered with a person who is covered with a white cloth from head to toe. That is what you would feel like when you reach the fourth dhyana. You would feel white, you would feel your body is made of light, and you would feel that like a tube light which is horizontally or vertically placed, and you would if depending on your height, you would feel that what do you call a tube light of that height, of that diameter, uh, as yourself. That is what you would perceive as yourself. So these are the 4 examples given by Supreme Buddha for the 4 dhyanas, and this is the Cheto Vimukta pathway. So you can practice Cheto Vimukta pathway, and you can start meditating if you are confident that you have the understanding about anicca dukkha anatta. You know what you have to do to attain nibbana. Then you can if you feel like meditation is your way of completing this pathway, then you can try it, and you can ask any problems when you have if you have when you are started practicing it. And when you have if you get any practical problems, you would get because uh, you are trying to step into a area that is very new, and that is very um, in ways dangerous if you do not stick into the correct techniques, especially if you get attached to different things that you hear, that you see, and that you uh, develop in the pathway. And if you dragged into other parts of this development of mental abilities, that could be a problem. So if you are following this pathway, it is very important to have constant guidance, very important to talk and communicate about what you are going through and what next steps you should take, because it is very important for someone to have a guidance when you are going in that pathway. But for prajna vimukta pathway, you can just follow, because you know what you are dealing with, you can see what you are dealing with, you can hear, you can feel what you are dealing with. So you are applying anicca dukkha anatta then and there when the problem occurs, and you are trying to stick on to that the conclusions you took with wisdom. So that is a very straightforward pathway. But when it comes to developing the mind, when it comes to uh, developing developing the uh, mind to get rid of raga, you would develop the qualities of dhyana, as well as sometimes these extra psychic the supernormal abilities, or supernatural abilities as well. So those are the, if you get attached to those kinds of things, the things you see, the things you hear, so this might take some time for some people to develop. For some people it can come straight away if you have developed it during your sansaric journey, and for some others you would not develop it. So what I like is not developing anything other than what I see right now, because if I develop the ability to see other things as well, now I have to expand my wisdom to those areas as well, because if I get attached to those areas, then that is a problem, because our aim is to get rid of attachment from on the things we see, on the things we hear, on the things we feel. But the span of things we can hear, span of things we can see was increased to a unlimited level, then the struggle would be much harder. So that's why I don't in my personal opinion, I would not like that kind of a thing to happen, because it would be a bit harder. It would make things a little bit harder for us than it is right now. So with that, I would end the discussion, and we'll go back to questions. If you have any questions, can ask, and we can continue the discussion based on the questions.
Thank you very much, Venerable Thero, for the explanations as well as the discussion. As Thero suggested, although we may have passed about more than 2 hours, we encourage you to ask any questions or by the voice, or put it into the text box, and based on which either we may continue the discussion or complete it with Anumodana shortly. Venerable Thero, considering the responses we've received so far, I think it would be probably suitable to complete it with Anumodana. I will shortly upload the video. Maybe some of you joined later on, so that you may be able to listen to it and then post any questions for the next round of discussions.
Yes.
Thero, shall we complete it
Yeah.
with short Anumodana?
Sure. So the quick reminder, so when it comes to practicing this meditation, it is very important to have one-to-one connection. Very important to have direct connections or direct guidance of what you are going through, because these are, if you start going through a what do you call a wild life environment, that means let's say a national park, and if your eyes were closed when you are going through it, you don't know what kind of animals you would encounter in the way, on the way. So it is very important to have discussions, have and discuss the experiences you go through when if you decide going towards that pathway. Not initially, but when things starts to develop. For example, you start developing various physical changes in your body. Your body might start getting your back might start getting straightened up, kind of things start. When these things starts to occur, when these things starts to develop, you need to discuss it with someone who has experience with meditation, and you should not have those things to yourself and try to sort it out by on your own, because it can be problematic, and you would not be able to, sometimes you would go out of the pathway, and you would not know it, as we discussed in the example, if your eyes are closed, because this is a area which we cannot see, which we cannot hear, which we cannot feel through our 5 senses, not like just walking through a park. It's very different. So you have to have guidance. So with that quick reminder, we will end the session. So today we discussed about the Anapanasati and the practical aspects of how you would practice Anapanasati. I hope you got a good understanding of what Anapanasati is and how to practice Anapanasati. And with that, meritorious deeds, all the meritorious deeds you have gathered throughout this session by thinking, by talking, and by acting, having sankharas accordingly, in creating a lot of meritorious deeds, thinking about anicca, dukkha, and anatta, and with those kinds of thoughts, actions, and words, you have created immeasurable amounts of meritorious power. So with that meritorious power, all the hindrances, barriers, obstacles in your Arya pathway may get diminished, getting the or creating the perfect environment for you to understand the supreme Dhamma. And with that, in that environment, may everyone get or may everyone get the perfect environment to develop the supreme Dhamma and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana and accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And in this special occasion, we would remind ourselves about all the help we got throughout the sansaric journey. Let us remind all the parents we had throughout the sansaric journey, especially our deceased relations, especially the people who taught us what is right and what is wrong, people who were beside us when we were in trouble, people who gave us jobs, made our lives better, and people who created our homes, workplaces, and people who created these Zoom platforms, and people who are behind these discussions, who are helping, facilitating, and who are supporting financially with these electronic devices and internet connections, and these monasteries, constructing these monasteries and everything. And let us also remind everybody who are harmed and hurted by us because of our avidya, and let us acknowledge our faults, and let us determine that we are not going to do those kinds of wrong things again, and let us remind those people who were hurted and harmed by us as well in this special occasion. And also people or the gods in 6 realms of gods, and also the Brahma gods who are in the 20 planes of Brahma. And let us also remind all the sentient beings in this universe. May they develop happy and delightful mindsets, seeing these meritorious deeds which we did today. May they develop happy minds, seeing these Dhamma discussions. If they are in miserable places, may they refrain from doing sins. May they replace those sins with meritorious deeds, and may they lead happy lives, ultimately accomplishing the understanding the reality of the world, or attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana. With that thought in mind, transfer this meritorious power to them with metta and kindness.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu,
Sadhu,
sadhu.
sadhu, sadhu.
And we would end this session with blessing, and I would be reciting this Pali verse to you, which has the blessing. Abhivadana siris nichang vaddha pichayino chatharo dhamma vaddanti ayuvanno sukham balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti meva chato nibbana sampatti minate samichatu supatti.
sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much to Venerable Dhammadassi Thero for taking the time today to explain the Dhamma to us, covering a very important segment. And many thanks to those who posed the questions, participated, and here with us for this Dhamma discussion. We wish you all very well. Teruvan Saranai to all. I will be shortly uploading the Dhamma discussion recording for your use. Teruvan Saranai.
Teruvan
Teruvan
Saranai.
Saranai.
Teruvan Saranai, everyone.